Today, I'm going to actually introduce you to somebody who's been behind the scenes for quite some time, building out the new protocols. And it's my son, Connor. We're going to talk about this one video. He's going to introduce me to a person who's been putting a lot of video out on what he considers street fighting. And we're going to take a look at it. All right. There you are. Hey, Connor.
How you doing?
Hey, so I just did a quick intro, but what's been really interesting is just you're really keeping your ear to the ground in social media to see what types of trends are happening when it comes to violence or when it comes to quote unquote fighting or anything like that. And you've identified one individual that's been putting out some content. So maybe you give us some background.
Yeah, so basically I've been going on social media and I like to look at, hey, what are the trends that are going on when it comes to self-defense? Is there anything that's pertinent that I'm seeing that's going viral that, you can use for content creation pieces and, just information that's getting out there that, could be right, but it could be wrong. And this one I've just been noticing it's just been going all over the internet. And it's a really smart trend this specific individual is doing. But I do see it's a problem because if you notice during like the COVID era, the TikTok dancer type guys got pretty famous. And then what happened was like, they're like, oh, the dancing's not cool anymore. Let me get into boxing, ego. A lot of fitness influencers, the specific guy I'm talking about is a fitness influencer. And so I've just been seeing this go all over the internet. So I want to kind of get your blind reaction to it and see what you think with it.
All right.
Gotta move ahead a little bit.
Okay.
So
he definitely works out.
Yeah, so this is this individual's name is Bradley Martin. At the time of me doing research on him, he's 34 years old. He's 6'2", 260 pounds. I mean, 260 pounds looking like that is, pretty. Is he on something? Maybe. Who knows? His social media presence is huge. 4.4 million Instagram followers, 3.4 on TikTok, 3.2 million on YouTube. He's a really well-known podcast guy. I enjoy his stuff personally. I think he seems like a cool individual, amateur bodybuilder, and then he owns a pretty well-known gym in LA that a lot of influencers go to film their content and stuff. And so one thing that I noticed that he's doing on his podcast is he's bringing on UFC fighters, boxers, anyone who's just known for fighting, and just straight up asking them who would win in a street fight. So my first thing I want to start
in between him and the fighter.
The fighter. Exactly. Wow. And so what I want to ask you first is, before I show you these videos so you can kind of get more of an understanding, is if this guy came up to you right now and he asked you straight up who would win in a street fight, what would be your response?
Well, I'd have to set some common ground on what a street fight is, what he thinks a street fight is. That's where most of the confusion happens. That's why I never use fighting as a term. I always use violence, because on the street, I consider anything that we're doing on the street violence, and violence has no parameters. In my world, violence is, you assume you're going to have multiple attackers. You assume those attackers are going to be bigger, faster, and stronger, and you assume they're going to carry weapons. And so, when I step out of any sort of a civil area into the streets, quote unquote, then that's what I'm assuming. And therefore, your only focus is injury and non-functional, putting somebody to the ground. I'm not sure how this guy defines a street fight.
Yeah, so that's what we'll get into the video here. Yeah, so just a quick on what this first video is going to be. It's going to be Aljamain Sterling. He is the former UFC bantamweight champion. He's really well known for his grappling skills and strategic approach in the octagon. Really good fighter. I've watched him a bunch. So this first video is Bradley Martin asking Aljamain, hey, who wins in a street fight? So let's play this whole thing out. It's about a minute long, and let's just see what they both say, and then I'd love to get your breakdown after.
Okay, great. Here we go.
All right, so at 155, your fight weight, we run into each other in the street. Who wins, man? Who wins?
What are we boxing?
No, we're just fighting in the street.
Damn. I got a couple of tactics, bro.
Yeah?
I got a couple of strategical tactics.
What would be your move to beat me in a street fight? Besides try to knock me out, obviously.
Nah, I wouldn't even try to knock you out because that's not my thing. My thing would probably be let you swing, let you miss. Especially a guy your size, I would think that I would be a little bit more agile. I'd be on your back like this.
I would kick you.
You ever watch X-Men?
Yes.
You know Nightcrawler?
Yes.
You ever see him bamp?
That's how you think he's gonna be?
Just right on your back.
No.
Right on
dude.
your back. Strangling while you're just like, how did he get here? No. And then as you're waking up, you're like, sleeping.
No, bro. I'd kick you. I wouldn't even try to punch you.
I think I destroy your legs.
You think it's gonna just shatter?
No, I don't think your legs will shatter. What I'm saying is, we could go shin to shin, and I think my conditioning of my legs will probably hold up compared to yours. I'm just saying.
So basically, seeing that, I kind of want to get your reaction on both guys. Let's start with Bradley Martin, based off what he says. What's your view?
Well, he makes. I understand where he's coming from. He's coming from the fact that, listen, dude's 260 pounds. He's a monster that way. He seems to have. I don't know what his background is, but I'm sure he has some sort of maybe a grappling background. Maybe he's done a little bit of training or something. But he feels pretty confident. But his big push on this is, I'm so much bigger than you. I just can grab you and control you and throw you down. Is that true? Yeah, it can be true. What's interesting is, he calls it a street fight, and it's just kind of like an agreed upon fight between two guys that know what's going on. So, street fights aren't normally something where you know everything. You might know that this guy, but you don't know about his friends. You don't know about anything else. You don't know who's going to jump in. Also, a lot of times it starts with you getting hit out of the blue. It's not. I mean, his definition is a little off for me on it. He's basically, it's a challenge. You're challenging a guy. Let's go outside. Let's go out back. So they're going to be fighting in real surfaces, it looks like. So yeah, that's a reality they have to deal with. But for the most part, it seems to be an agreed upon situation. Not necessarily, they're not really talking rules, but they're talking about, well, it's just going to be between me and you and who's going to win, which is, I don't know how valuable that information is.
Mm-hmm. And then how about the part that he brought up that I thought was really interesting, especially with your teachings, is he said, obviously, aside from knocking me out. Now, the one thing you always preach is you want to have an injury applied so the person is disabled and they can't move and they can't harm you anymore. And it seems like his thing is like, oh, you just have to knock them out. So what's your thoughts on that?
Yeah, there's people talking in just non-specific terms. The reason, obviously the system's called target-focused training is because you want to know exactly where to put the effort in the body to get a result. And you want an injury. And the reason you want an injury is because the most dangerous thing on a human being is their ability to think and move. The human brain. And when you put an injury, as we define it, on the human body, the body is responding to trauma. And no matter what the brain wants to do, the brain has to, the brain is overridden by the body trying to protect itself. And so you're taking the brain out of the equation when you put an injury on somebody. So he talks about knocking somebody out. Now, maybe he's talking about, striking the hypoglossal nerve, side of the neck, interrupting blood flow and nerve flow. I'm not sure what he means. He might just mean throwing haymakers and hoping for the best. But really, if you're going to try to knock somebody out, you need to know where specifically to go in the human body to get that result. And it's just non-specific. And again, it's tough guy talk. It's not specific violence, and it's certainly not street violence.
And then how about the fighter, Aljamain Sterling? What were your thoughts on his comments?
Well, where you have to, in this, it's such an artificial scenario. It's hard for me to take it seriously, and not because I don't take the two guys seriously. I think it's interesting. It's an interesting contest between two individuals, one who's very big and powerful, and the other one who's very skilled in fighting, smaller. So it's really interesting. And what Jermaine's saying is, dude, and he talked about being like Nightcrawler and, exploding, meaning he will do everything to get around him, to get up on him and spider up on him and just become a spider monkey, just hanging on him basically, and just, choking him out. We've seen that happen many times in the UFC where a bigger, faster, stronger guy is taken out that way with some sort of a choke, and they submit him that way, or they tap out. So it's valid, but he's looking at it from a standpoint of, me getting up and choking you out and submitting you, which is that a street fight? Not really. Street fight usually ends up with people, hurt, maimed, crippled, or killed, basically. And oftentimes it doesn't matter what the intention was. Something happened where somebody collided with the planet in a wrong way, and all of a sudden you're facing manslaughter charges.
When you say collide with the planet, just for people who don't understand that, what would be an example of that?
It means so say he successfully steps in and say punches him in the solar plexus, and the guy topples over. He loses his balance. He topples over, and then he hits his head on a curb that's right behind him, and then he brains himself. And so now you're dealing with a head injury. You're dealing with unintended consequences when it comes to a quote unquote street fight, just to see who the better fighter is. Now you're dealing with serious injury, if not death, and now you're facing legal charges over this. You got one guy who's probably severely injured, probably brain damaged, and the other guy now is going to jail. Over what? This is what they're calling a street fight. It's just kind of it's antisocial aggression is what it is, which is avoidable, meaning it's done by choice. These guys are choosing to do a quote unquote street fight. And so that by its very nature is not really street violence.
Yep, totally. And then the last point I just want to make, because I noticed some of the other fighters that we'll see in the next videos talk about is one thing they think they have on him, which is obviously true, is stamina. They think they could last longer than him. What would you say to something like that?
Well, yeah, listen, I've noticed that was one thing with me. I as you know, I've really dropped. I've dropped about 40 pounds. I was about Bradley's size. I wasn't as shredded as he was, but I was strong and I was there. But that was not serving me at all. It was really making me, I wasn't slow enough. I was too slow. And my cardio was okay, but it wasn't great. It's hard to be lugging around 260 pounds like that. But again, the only caveat I got with the fighters is they're thinking of it as a fight. They're thinking of it as a contest. They're not thinking the fact that, hey, dude, I am on the street now. And so, yes, I can outlast him on here, but are there any other variables here? Is anybody else going to jump into this thing? Are there weapons that are going to come out? All the things that happen that are unpredictable on the street that you have to do. So therefore, your goal should be to get an injury as quickly as possible and then stack injuries until the person's non-functional. It's the safest way to operate when you're on the street to control situations. And that would have to be the focus. The focus would have to be on, where can I put an injury on this guy that will, immediately change things in my favor, because he will be focused on the trauma.
So our next video I want to show you is Vera. This guy, absolute one of my favorite fighters to watch. When UFC's on, when he's fighting. He's currently number 4 in the UFC bantamweight rankings, and he's notable for his striking, and the guy's resilient. I mean, he can go 5 rounds, 5 minutes, no problem. Just call him up, he could do it. So I just want to get your reaction on him as well. His is a very interesting approach. I think it's a little more in line with what you teach.
Who wins the street fight, me or you?
I kill you. I swear to God, I kill you.
How much you weigh?
155 right now.
How would you kill me?
Bro,
like what? No, I'm saying what move?
Yeah, check this out.
Yeah, go ahead.
If you don't grab me and throw me to a wall.
So if I don't get my hands on you.
No, but I will grapple you too. But okay. The only way I feel you will beat me, if you grab me,
yeah, and
you hit my head with the wall, and then if I get KO, because if you don't knock me out, I'm gonna keep coming. And cardio wise,
yeah,
you don't. I'm an animal, dude.
I believe stop. You. I mean, I
run 13 miles every Sunday. I'm a real runner, train my ass off. I'm healthy, so like in Street Fighter, the health. Even if you start punching me and hurting me, my health won't leave me too quick. You will have to really knock me out early.
You gotta be cold.
If not, dude, I'm gonna take your eyes out of your face. It's a street fight, right?
Yeah.
We're not talking about referee.
No.
Oh,
it's to the death.
I'm opening your guts and playing with them.
Well, that was interesting.
Yeah, no, that was definitely. So I want to get your thoughts on Bradley's point of view. He was laughing a little more in this one. I know he's doing this for clickbait reasons,
right.
But it is something, because I think a lot of people think it's, this is what a street fight would be.
Yeah, it's just, well, again, he goes to the weight differential, and it's true, and the strength differential, and he really didn't have anything new other than, hey, who would win between me and you in a street fight type thing, and then he always relies on the fact that he's bigger and stronger than these fighters. But I thought it was more interesting Cheeto's response, and I don't know if you want to talk about that right away.
Yeah, the one thing that was crazy was Cheeto, and I don't know if you noticed this. The second he asked him this, he said, "Is this no ref?" Like, he changed. Like, it was, you just saw that mental switch, that kind of like, oh, this guy, he has another level that you know, a lot of people don't realize. But yeah, no, give me your thoughts on him.
He understood, you know, he's like, because he even asked a couple times, "It's a street fight, right? This is a street fight." He understands the realities of a street fight, and he also understood. He goes, "Hey, listen, dude, I understand that you are bigger, faster, and stronger, and if you are able to get me, lift me off the ground and throw my head into the wall, I'm done." So he, you know, like we talk about all the time, hey, you know, just like, you know, with all my years of training and everything like that, if I catch a pipe to the back of the head, I go down just like everybody else. So that was, he has a really good grasp on real violence that way. He understood that. He then was talking about, if you don't do that though, my cardio is so good that I'll just keep coming at you. And, you know, my skill set, again, you know, they're talking about their skill set against somebody like this versus, you know, just raw strength and size. And it was interesting that he was talking about him not really understanding. You know, he said, "Hey, I'm going to take your eyes out. I will take your eyes. I will go in," you know, and then he talks about opening guts. Now, the way you're going to open the guts is you're going to use a knife. You know, he was alluding to these things without saying, because he kept saying, "It's a street fight. It's a street fight." Oh yeah, dude, it's totally different. For him, he understood, you know, what he would have to do in that. And I don't think it really, I think that's why Bradley was laughing so much, because he didn't really, I don't think he really processed what Cheeto was saying, you know?
Yeah, exactly. So that was a good one. But let's go to this next one. This next one is going to be, I brought a boxer in this time. Did a few UFC guys. This is Devin Haney, a professional boxer. He's held multiple world championships in 2 different weight classes. He's known for his technical skills, very fast. He weighs 150 pounds. Or he might be lower in weight, but I know his like normal street weight's 150 is what he'll say in this video.
Okay.
So let's go to that video.
All right.
I think that like muscles like mean something. Muscles don't mean nothing. Like
Yeah, if I could jump on you, then maybe. If I could hold you on the floor, sure.
yes,
But in boxing, no, I know that's
but even in a street fight,
I'd beat the out of you in the street.
no,
fight.
I would kill you, bro.
Yeah,
I would kill you. I would kill you, bro.
God, I love it. Wait
Okay,
again.
so like around my walk around weight, I would kill you.
What's your weight? Damn it, I want his weight.
No, so 150, around 150.
Bro, I would maul you at 150.
No.
100%.
No.
As confident as you are.
Okay,
about
so let me tell you something.
150.
Let me
You're
tell you
talking about
something.
150
But
pounds.
let me tell you something.
Okay.
You cannot take a punch though. So like you're not used to getting hit. So
I've been hit though.
no. But you've been
Not
hit.
by you,
But
not
you've
by-
been hit by regular guys, like guys who don't even know how to punch. No. I'm talking about a guy that can hit you again and again and again the same way. It will be hard. By the time that you like, I know everybody thinks like, oh, well, he's gonna if you grab me.
Yeah.
But you have to get to the point where you have to grab me. So
But it's
you're
a
gonna
street
take
fight.
So, but you have to get to me though.
Yeah.
So in the process of you getting to me,
You think you piece me up that fast?
I'm gonna hit you so many
God, I wanna
times.
do
I'm gonna
this,
hit you
bro.
so many
I want
times.
to do this so bad.
I'm gonna hit you so many times. No. I'm gonna hit you so many times that by the time that you do get to me,
I'm asleep.
Well, that was a very different conversation this time.
So what were your thoughts on that one? You go fighter or Bradley Martin.
Yeah, Devin was he was really he understood what the deal was. What he's bringing up again, which Bradley kind of dismisses. Bradley's really big on the fact that, hey, I'm 100 pounds more than you, and I will use my size and my strength to grab on you. But you're talking about a really good boxer, and on the street, he's saying, I will be able to light you up as you come in, because you have to be able to get your hands around me and come in. Now, listen, it could go either way. I mean, we've seen really good elite grapplers take out boxers all the time. But I do appreciate what Devin was saying, is that, hey, you've been hit by regular guys. You haven't been hit by a professional, and a professional will be able to hit you time and time again with all his power and, light you up that way. And it is very different. I remember the first time I was hit by a professional boxer, I thought I could take hits. I couldn't believe how good, and this guy did it at will, when he came in. I remember being a young kid in the ring just going, what is going on here? because it was a whole other level of being hit. But again, the whole premise of the whole thing is a one-on-one where everybody knows what's going on, and it's like everybody's watching a schoolyard fight. I wouldn't even call it a street fight. It'd be like, they're really what they're talking about in this whole thing, if I really think about it, is a schoolyard fight. You know, it's, hey, meet me out back by the basketball courts at 3:00, and I'm going to kick your ass, and we're going to see what happens. But yeah, so again, I thought the boxer was realistic in some of his things. I think Bradley does dismiss skill set out of the thing. I think he just thinks he's going to be able to power through everybody and just get them and go down. And hey, it's been proven in the past. You can, if they screw up and they don't get an injury on him, then yeah, that is what's going to happen. He will use his bigger, faster, stronger positioning to body slam or do whatever the hell he wants to do.
Yeah, I think that's a very important point, is like, we're not denying that he could potentially win a street fight. I mean, a perfect example, I mean, this is a contest, but Francis Ngannou versus Tyson Fury. I mean, no one thought he would be able to get one punch on him. He literally I thought he personally won that fight, but he literally knocked him out, like, for a quick knock him down.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's just it. It's you can't make total assumptions on anything, especially when it's random like this. It's just, hey, we're gonna go do a fight, and I'm a boxer. You do what you do, and we'll see what happens. And Bradley did recommend. He understood in a boxing situation he'd get lit up. If he was going by the rules of boxing, but he does think, as soon as it switches over to his version of a street fight, that he's bigger, faster, stronger. He'll smother the guy, and that's it. He's done. So again, overall, this is such a stupid conversation, because it's egoing out of young males, basically, who are trying to do kind of the alpha thing. Who's the alpha? And they're equating it to real violence, and that's the only danger in all of this stuff. This is what they're talking about. Has nothing to do with street violence. Has nothing to do with anything. This is agreed upon situation where you can see essentially who has a better skill set in parameters. And what they're basically saying, a street fight for them means there's no basic rules. You can grapple, you can do whatever you want, basically. So that's really what it is. It's kind of a no holds barred street contest, basically, is what it is.
Yeah, and that's exactly why I brought these videos to you, because you look at this initially like, I'll just brush it off, no big deal. But me as like, I'm acting like an average Joe. I'm seeing this stuff and I'm believing it. And I know there's all these people who are believing this, like, street fight, so who would win, this, that. And it's like, okay, what about all the other variables, especially the variables you've taught me over the years? It's just, I don't think a lot of people are considering that, which is why I think it's important to get your breakdown on something like this.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I agree. Okay, so what do we got next? Who's he talking to next?
This next one is a very famous UFC legend, Nate Diaz. He was in the UFC for over he asked this guy this question. I mean, this guy's a legit street fighter.
I can't believe Nate's even going to put up with any of this bullshit.
Yeah, I don't even know why he's on the podcast.
Oh my God, it's hilarious. Okay, all right, let's get to him.
You're gonna love this initial reaction right here. You're gonna love this.
Okay, let's see what he has to say.
Huh?
You think you beat me in a street fight?
You in a street fight?
Yeah.
You're a podcaster, brother.
I love it. So the answer is then yes, yeah?
Of course.
I love it.
Yeah, not you personal, though, but anybody, any size is like easy.
No, I was talking about me.
Yeah.
Because I asked Devin Haney. Devin Haney thought the boxer, he thought he beat me in a street fight 150.
Yeah, but he probably up too, though.
You think so? Nah, you really think so? No, I'm 260.
I said probably you up.
You think a 150 pound dude?
I think
Realistically.
You're talking about Devin Haney, the boxer.
The boxer, yeah. 150.
No, I think he'd find you, but if you grabbed a hold of him, like, it's different. And you're talking about me too, so it's different. Like, look,
you're different to me than that.
I know, yeah, for sure. If you fought Devin Haney, you got to get him good. You got to grab that little fucker.
Oh, that's it.
Yeah, and that's it, right? So you get a hold of him. You grab a hold of Devin Haney, he's probably most likely dead.
How great was that?
Oh my God, it's exactly what I expected Diaz to be like. With it.
You notice he doesn't even really go into himself.
No,
he just went to Devin Haney.
Yeah, he didn't even care. He was just talking about Devin Haney on that. And again, he was right. If again a boxer gets swamped like that, those are his tools. And if he can't use his tools, he's not going to be able to injure you. So in that particular situation, he was. Nate's really realistic. What he was insinuating was, hey, grab me, motherfucker. And, not going to be the same. You're in my world. And he was just kind of dismissive. But the fact that he goes, hey, dude, you're a podcaster. I mean, that was great. That was hilarious. But again, nothing in there that we talked about would be defined the way we talk about it as street violence or a, quote unquote street fight. It's an agreed upon contest, basically, antisocial aggression, schoolyard fighting, basically is what we're doing. Just glorified schoolyard fighting. Nothing wrong with it. But the problem is if you think, okay, this somehow relates to violence on the street, and it doesn't.
Yeah. And then our final video, I just want to give you a quick breakdown, is Sean O'Malley, the current UFC champion. This guy's known for one-punch knockouts, highlight reel type, awesome, crazy hair, fun to watch, cool. Really reminds me of kind of like McGregor-esque type. Yeah. But he gives a really cool breakdown, and I want to hear what your reaction is to it.
Okay.
Who's in a street fight, me or you?
Street fight.
In my opinion, is it in a basketball court or is it in a cage?
A street fight. Well, yeah.
Well, no, we got space.
A lot of space.
I don't know. Yeah, I mean somewhere on
if it's not like somewhere super like a room like this, I wouldn't like my odds as much. But like a wide open space, I'm 100% not gonna get as tired as you. It would be very hard for you to just grab a hold of me. I've been defending that for the last 12 years, not letting people grab a hold of me, but no one's tried as strong as you. Even if you did just grab a hold of me, there's other issues you got to worry about. Don't let me grab your neck at all. Don't let me take your back. I honestly, I got a couple little takedowns that I'd probably be able to get to your back and choke you. That's how I would have to guess.
So what's your thoughts on the current UFC champion?
Again, I appreciate the honesty. He recognizes, hey, he's a very strong guy, and that has a place. If he's able to use his strength against me, then I don't like my chance. Like he was talking about the confined spaces too. He realizes that in a confined space, it'll be easier for him to pin him. Whereas if he has more open space, he can use his cardio. Again, they're assuming what? One-on-one. They're assuming, again, and what do we always assume when you are outside in the real world? We assume multiple attackers. We assume bigger, faster, and stronger. And we assume they're carrying weapons. What they are, again, I've said it a couple of times now, they're agreeing to essentially a glorified schoolyard fight where it's just them that they have to worry about. And that's the parameters of what they're talking about. It really, again, I have to say, it just has nothing to do with the realities of violence. This is something where you choose to use violence to basically, settle a bet. That's really what it is. I think I'm bigger and stronger, and I think my bigger, stronger outweighs your skill. Of a smaller guy with skill, I think I can beat you. That's really what this whole thing is about, and it's getting the viral clicks because you got this, really well-built 260-pound monster who is basically throwing these challenges out to very well-known fighters. And the fighters are giving some interesting answers. But nobody has talked about, Cheeto kind of did. I think in Cheeto's head, he was thinking violence. But so far, nobody's really thinking about violence the way it would be if it was out in the street.
Yep, exactly. And to go off your point right there of the street fights, I actually have a little bit of a surprise video. I told you about it, but you haven't seen it yet. These are 3 instances. Again, I don't know if these are parodies, if these were staged, but it is 3 situations that have gone viral on, social media of Bradley Martin actually fighting. So I want to show you that and just get your initial reaction, and then we'll do some final thoughts.
All right, man.
So these 3 videos, separate ones, are situations where I've seen Bradley Martin so-called fighting. There could be other situations where he's had this that just wasn't recorded, but these are the ones I was able to find in my research. You'll see this first one's wrestling. The second one, he's at a UFC event where he throws a punch to another famous influencer. And then this last one is with the Nelk Boys. But the last one I'd like to hear your thoughts on that, because I think it's a very important point when it comes to street fighting. So let's play it.
All right. Let's do it.
Let's do it. Wrestling match. Let's do it right here. Come on. No, let's run it here. Let's do it right here. Do it right here. Right here. Do it right here. Yeah. You ain't fucking around, boy. I was gonna shake your hand first.
He's got a call. Flag. That's a flag. That's a flag. No, all right, that's enough. All right, that's it. That's it.
But you what?
I was more calm here.
Oh, you? You want me to fight you?
I think the more I just get in slack, the more I practice being in here, the more comfortable I get. You can do that.
What's up, bro?
That's all it was.
Hey, oh, shit.
Hey. Knocked out initially, and that was wiped away as well. We're going to take a look.
Back to your corners. Back to your corners.
Fuck you up.
Back to your
All
corners.
right, Bradley, come on.
And
Oh shit, bro, are you okay?
And we have a winner. And we have a winner.
You good, bro?
Ah, what the fuck, dude?
Oh fuck.
So those are the things I've seen where he's actually had some type of physical confrontation. I mean, obviously those are all three avoidable situations that no one should engage in. It wasn't where violence was the only answer. It literally, those were avoidable situations. The first one was one of those TikTok dancers he was wrestling I was talking about, which is really funny. I think that's where he gets that concept of, oh, I'm bigger, so I can bring him down. But, the rules in that was a wrestling match. So do you got any thoughts on that?
Yeah, again, this just proves the point. All of them, the first two were just ridiculous. It's choosing to use violence in a situation. On the first one, the wrestling, I mean, yeah, he's much bigger than the kid. He had okay skill. He did okay takedown. I saw, he swept him. He doesn't have professional level skills of martial arts, but the guy can fight, And again, you don't need professional level skills. I mean, there are plenty of guys in prison that have zero skill sets, but they're really good at violence. So yeah, he got the job done on that. But again, so what? You took out a kid that's much smaller than you. Big deal. And again, was it staged? It could have been easily. Second one, where he's at the UFC and he gets into it. The interesting thing for me was not the whole exchange. The interesting to me was to watch him throw a punch. And he definitely doesn't know how to throw a punch. It was all arm when he did that. He wasn't, he's not a skilled puncher. I'm not saying he can't hurt people. I'm just saying, it was interesting for me just to see, okay, when he's going to throw something, this is how he throws a punch, type thing. And again, it was just one of those stupid things that you see at events all the time. You see guys get into it and in there, it's just kind of a nothing. Now the third one with the Nelk boys was really a great lesson. Now again, was it staged? I don't know. He definitely got zapped and he definitely went down. Did he agree to get zapped? Maybe. Again, these guys are all about the clicks and looks. The only thing that I would say is where he fell, his face was really close to that grate. And had he smashed his face on that grate, he would have done some real damage to himself. He definitely got zapped. He wasn't faking that, when he came down. But why is that interesting? Because that's exactly how a real predator would look at a bigger, faster, stronger guy like him and say, okay, I'm not going to play that game. And what did? They used deception. Okay, go back to your corner. And they took out a taser and they tased him from behind, and again, that's violence. That's real violence. I remember there was a guy in Mission Beach in San Diego and he got drunk and he was out yelling, I can take anybody. I'll kill you. And he yelled at these two Mexican kids who just didn't say anything, and the guy came at him, tried to bow up on him, and they just stabbed him to death right away. It was no hesitation at all. And again, that is street violence. That is true violence. You run into somebody that says, oh, I'm not going to play that game. I'm going to go right to injury. And oh, by the way, I got this tool and I'm just going to take you out. I see you and it's there. I remember years ago, I had a really good friend who was Austin SWAT cop, Louis Marquez. And he used to talk about the fact that he was a Puerto Rican from New York and the way they used to fight and the way they used to do violence. He said when he got to Texas, it was really interesting. He said Texas was all about, oh my God, if a guy's bigger, faster, and stronger, everybody thinks, oh my God, this guy's going to win. He goes, it's so funny. He goes, my friends and I in New York would have looked at this guy and say, okay, I got to break his knee first. And then they just sit there and say, okay, he's bigger, faster, and stronger. So when he's not looking, I'm going to take a baseball bat to his knee. I'm going to drop him there, and then I'm just going to, systematically injure him, and he'll no longer be a problem. They understood how to bypass bigger, faster, stronger. It was with injury. And it's just that, a physical size. I tell people all the time, like with bodyguards and stuff, when you see the big Hollywood bodyguards, the big, like football looking guys, those guys deter everybody you don't care about. A true professional, like a professional that's trying, a professional assassin or a professional stalker that's trying to get in, is not going to be intimidated by large individuals. They will find a way around it. That's why you have to have layers of security. People like that have to have that. And oftentimes some of the best security professionals are those that are just like gray men. They can go in anywhere, average height, average weight, highly skilled. And you won't see them ever coming, when it comes in. So again, this was a really interesting series you took me through. And the fact that it is going on, viral, and people are looking at it, I think it is important that we talked about this, because again, fun stuff, fun to watch. I love, me, how many times have we gone to combat sports? We love it. Okay. It's fantastic to watch it. This is a version of that in like a Schoolyard version with a podcaster, yoked podcaster versus skilled, smaller fighter. You notice he's not really asking any guys that are like true heavyweights or anything like that, where he's really asking about going against them, because he understands, somebody his size with skill, it's a very different world if you're volunteering to get into some sort of a confrontation with them. But again, I think the whole point of this is, if you're watching this, podcast and you've been seeing everything, you have to have a real understanding between antisocial aggression, which is what this whole video was showing. And antisocial aggression is something that you choose to do, versus asocial violence, where you're devoid of choice and you have to use every means necessary to protect yourself. So, hey, I think this is great. And, I look forward to the other stuff you're going to, find for me and do some comments, because this was actually really cool. I wouldn't have picked this one up from my social media feeds. I haven't, this was new. This guy was new to me. So it's cool. And again, let me preface everything. First of all, the guy's in a tremendous shape. He's confident. He's very good. He's willing to do things, and I give him a lot of credit. So it's not, it's not something like if he challenged me, like, what does that prove? It proves nothing. It's the way he's doing it. If I have no problem with what he's doing, it's just don't call it a street fight, because it's not a street fight. That's not what street violence is. That is, it's another form of, combat sport almost, where you're there. So I don't know. Does that pretty much cover everything that you wanted to cover?
Yeah, that's perfect. I think that's great.
All right, guys. Well, hey, thanks for watching. Looking forward to your comments and feedback. And again, guys, surviveviolence.com. If you're ready to start putting together a program of protection for you and your family to minimize the chance of violence coming in your life.